So I want you to imagine that you are standing by a dusty track at a zoo.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Yeah. And it's a really hot day. You're squeezed in with this huge, sweaty crowd, and everyone is just waiting for the highly anticipated cheetah run.
Right, which sounds incredible.
It does. But when the zookeeper finally walks out, she's holding the leash of a yellow Labrador retriever named Minnie.
Wait, a golden retriever at a cheetah run?
Exactly.
Huh.
Why is there a dog? Because the zoo actually raised their cheetah, Tabitha, alongside this super tame Labrador just to, keep her docile.
Wow. So the underlying logic of the zoo is actually pretty simple there. I mean, whatever Minnie the Labrador does, Tabitha the cheetah is instinctively going to want to do too.
Yeah, monkey see, monkey do,
Yeah.
or cheetah see, dog do, I guess.
Right. So the handlers, they tie this frayed, dirty, pink stuffed bunny to the back of a Jeep. The Jeep takes off. The golden retriever chases it joyfully like it's the best day of her life, and the crowd gives this polite applause.
Setting the expectation.
Exactly. It establishes the baseline.
So then it's Tabitha's turn. The cage opens, and this wild, just majestic predator bolts out. But her laser focus is entirely on that pathetic pink bunny.
Right. She's bought into the game.
Completely. She runs the 100 meters, the zookeeper blows a little whistle, tosses her a store-bought steak, and Tabitha pins it down in the dirt to eat.
Which is just kind of
It
sad.
really is. But later, she's spotted pacing the perimeter of her fenced field. Her head is held high. She's looking past the wire, looking, regal, and honestly, a little terrifying.
Because she's remembering what she is. And, Tabitha is the central metaphor of Glennon Doyle's memoir, Untamed, which is what we are exploring for you in our deep dive today.
Yes, absolutely.
Because Tabitha isn't just an animal in a zoo, right? She represents anyone listening right now who carries this restless, nagging hunch that life was supposed to be more beautiful and, I don't know, more expansive than this.
Yeah, that's spark.
But instead of honoring that wild intuition, we look at the smiling zookeepers and the panting Labradors around us, and we just suppress that feeling.
We totally do.
We settle for the store-bought steak.
Okay, let's unpack this. Our mission today is to figure out how we ended up chasing the pink bunny in the first place and, more importantly, how to systematically tear down those fences.
All right, the escape plan.
But before we can dismantle the cage, we kind of have to recognize its architecture. Because, I look back at my own childhood and I don't remember a specific moment where society sat me down and said, okay, time to put on the leash.
Well, yeah, because it rarely happens in just one traumatic, obvious moment.
Right.
The source text actually pinpoints age 10 as the critical juncture for this.
Age 10.
Yeah, 10. That is when children begin to heavily internalize their formal taming. It's when that innate spark starts to fade because they learn the societal survival mechanisms of being good girls and real boys.
Man, I read the section about the shampoo bottles, and
That part is so good.
it's almost comical how overt this conditioning is once you actually look for it. So the author goes into her kid's bathroom, and the teenage boy's body wash is this bulky red, white, and blue bottle barking these violent commands.
Like a drill surgeon.
Yes, it literally says things like armor up in man scent, drop kick dirt, slam odor with a folding chair.
It's literal combat training in the shower.
It really is. But then you pick up the teenage girl's shampoo bottle. And it's slim, it's metallic pink, it has this flowy cursive font.
And no action verbs.
Not a single one, just passive adjectives. It says alluring, radiant, gentle, touchable.
Wow.
It's subliminally teaching boys to be these aggressive conquerors and girls to be quiet, desirable objects waiting to be conquered. But, surely we can't blame all of this just on marketing, right?
No, of course not. Marketing is just a reflection of our deeper institutional values.
Okay, fair point.
The text gives a much more profound example of the author as a 10-year-old in a Catholic CCD class.
Oh, right, the volunteer teacher.
Yeah. Her teacher was an accountant just fulfilling volunteer hours, and he taught the creation story by stating that Eve's original sin,
The root of all human suffering.
exactly, the root of all human suffering, was wanting to know more, wanting more than she was given, and failing to be grateful.
So if you're a 10-year-old girl sitting in that room, the lesson you internalize is that trusting your own hunger and seeking knowledge are just inherently sinful.
You're being taught that your core desires are dangerous.
Right. You have to suppress what you want in favor of what you should do.
And the psychological consequence of that suppression is a complete loss of self-trust. I mean, we literally forget how to read our own
I think it's
bodies.
terrifying.
The text shares this staggering observation of teenage boys versus teenage girls when asked a really simple question like, anybody hungry?
Oh, this blew my mind.
Right. The boys immediately look inward, assess their physical state, and just yell out their answer. But the
The
girls...
girls look around at each other's faces.
Exactly. They literally poll the room.
They have to poll the room to decide if they're allowed to be hungry. It's like outsourcing our own internal thermometers.
That's a great way to put it.
We no longer know if we are hot or cold without checking with the herd first. And this scales up to a terrifying degree later in life.
Oh, absolutely.
The author describes sitting at her computer at 3 in the morning, she's eating ice cream, and she's typing into Google, what should I do if my husband is a cheater, but also an amazing dad?
Think about the mechanics of that action for a second. It highlights such a profound disconnect.
Trusting the internet over yourself.
Yes, she is trusting an algorithm which is populated by bots and the opinions of complete, anonymous strangers over her own soul to make the most intimate decision of her entire life.
Okay, let me play devil's advocate for a second here.
Go for it.
If looking inward is so natural to us, why is it so incredibly hard to just stop Googling and start listening to ourselves? Like, what is making us avoid our own instincts so aggressively?
Well, because the truth is disruptive. To explain this avoidance, the text introduces the metaphor of a snow globe.
I love this metaphor.
It's so vivid. Imagine that instead of a peaceful winter snowman in the center of the globe, there is a fiery, terrifying dragon.
Just sitting there.
Right. And that dragon is your truth. It's your core, and we are absolutely terrified of waking it up.
So we shake the snow globe.
Constantly. We use endless busyness, addiction, consumerism, and, chaotic relationships just to keep the snow swirling.
Because if it settles...
If it settles, you have to look the dragon in the eye. The logic is that as long as the flurry is dense enough, you can avoid the truth.
And the author's personal flurries were incredibly intense.
Yes, they were.
She used bulimia for 16 years, and she described it as the only place she allowed herself to exhale and indulge her hunger since, good girls aren't supposed to have appetites.
Right, managing the cage.
Yeah. And when she recovered from that, the flurry just morphed into severe alcoholism.
Mm.
And even after getting sober, she manufactured a new flurry, which was contorting herself into this flawless, compliant wife.
A role she maintained even after discovering her husband's repeated infidelity.
There's this shocking detail about a therapy session during that time. She tells the therapist she feels dead inside during physical intimacy with her husband.
Yeah, this part is hard to read.
It really is. And this therapist, a professional in a crisp suit with framed degrees on the wall, suggests she just perform a different sexual act, specifically a blowjob, because it is, quote, less intimate, unquote, so she could just get it over with.
Which is the ultimate endorsement of the cage.
Seriously.
I mean, you have a medical professional telling a patient to disconnect entirely from her own humanity just to maintain the performance of her role. Just keep the snow swirling at all costs.
But the snow does eventually settle.
It always does.
For the author, the catalyst is a book conference in Chicago. She's at a dinner, feeling completely out of place. And then a woman, Abby Wambach, walks into the room.
The turning point.
Yeah, the author describes this involuntary physical reaction. She stands up, she opens her arms, and a voice from her deepest core insists, there she is.
And she later analyzes this not merely as like a romantic meet cute, but as her very first entirely original idea.
Wow, her first original idea.
It was a visceral rejection of that good enough life she had painfully curated. It was her inner cheetah finally seeing the savannah.
Okay, but I read that, and part of me panicked on behalf of the listener.
Why is that?
Well, if you feel that deep discontent is the only solution to just detonate your marriage or walk out on your career, because honestly, that sounds less like freedom and more like a wrecking ball.
Right, and that's a really crucial distinction to make. The objective isn't destruction just for the thrill of chaos.
Okay, good.
It's a systematic unlocking of the cage. The text actually outlines 4 specific internal practices, basically keys, that allow you to navigate this transition without just burning your life down blindly.
So how do we actually do this? The first practice the text identifies is allowing yourself to feel everything.
Feel it all.
Right. And the author learns this in early sobriety from a woman in a church basement who tells her, feelings are for feeling. Which sounds so obvious, but we spend our whole lives trying to numb out.
Because we conflate doing life right with being happy all the time.
Totally.
The text specifically focuses on the ache.
With a capital A.
Yes. This is the breathtaking realization that everything we love will eventually end. The author feels this profoundly while holding her dying grandmother's papery hands.
Such a powerful scene.
It is, and her conditioned instinct in that moment is to detach, to flee the room just to escape the pain.
Because if you don't care, it can't hurt you.
Yeah.
But how does just sitting there and suffering actually help? What is the mechanism that makes feeling the pain better than escaping it?
Well, it's about processing the stress cycle.
Right.
When we numb or flee, the physiological and emotional trauma gets trapped in the body. It becomes the flurry.
Oh, I see.
But when we stay present with the ache, we allow the emotion to run its course. The author realizes the ache isn't a warning to run, it's a reminder to stay. When we stop dodging the fire of our emotions and just sit in it, we discover we are fireproof. The pain processes through us, and we transform instead of breaking.
Okay, so once you stop running and the snow globe settles, you have to actually listen to what's left, which brings up the second practice. Finding your inner voice.
The knowing.
Yes, the text calls this the knowing.
And finding that voice requires sinking beneath the chaotic surface of all that external advice.
Right.
When the author was deciding the fate of her marriage, the religious experts told her a good Christian stays, while feminist writers argued a strong woman leaves.
Everyone has an opinion.
The external world will always offer contradictory tages. The objective truth for your life is only found internally.
And the author's method for finding it was sitting on her messy closet floor for 10 minutes a day in total silence.
Just letting the snow settle.
Yeah, but I have to push back here. 10 minutes of silent meditation sounds great, but like for a parent working multiple jobs or someone just drowning in responsibilities, sitting in a closet feels impossible. Does it literally have to be a closet?
No, not at all. The closet isn't the point. Sensory deprivation is.
Okay.
The mechanism here is dropping below the frequency of constant input. Whether it's a closet or maybe a parked car before you walk into work or the shower, you just have to deliberately shut off the external noise.
Just unplug for a minute.
Exactly. And over time, the panic of the silence fades, and she describes finding this warm, liquid gold feeling that simply nudges her toward the next right thing, one step at a time.
I love that. It's like putting on high-end noise-canceling headphones in the middle of a screaming stadium just so you can finally hear your own heartbeat.
That's exactly what it is. And once you can hear that heartbeat, you're ready for the third practice, which is daring to imagine.
The text illustrates this so beautifully with the author's daughter, Tish.
Yes, the polar bear story.
Yeah. So Tish learns in kindergarten that polar bears are dying because of melting ice caps. And Tish is absolutely paralyzed by this.
As she should be, honestly.
Right. But while the other kids just brush it off and go play Foursquare, Tish can't cope. The author's initial reaction is to try and fix it by lying to her. She drafts this fake email saying the polar bears are saved just to make her daughter stop hurting.
Because our culture pathologizes deep feeling. We view sensitivity as a defect that needs fixing.
But she realizes Tish isn't defective.
No, her sensitivity is a critical survival tool for the species. She is the person on the Titanic yelling iceberg, while everyone else is just annoyed that the music stopped.
So, imagination in this context isn't just daydreaming about a vacation or something.
No, definitely not. Imagination is the psychological blueprint for what the text calls the unseen order.
The unseen order.
Yeah. When you look at the visible world, the inequalities, the broken systems, the exhausted people, and you feel a deep discontent, that is your imagination trying to get your attention.
It's whispering, not this.
Precisely. To build a truer life, you have to stop consulting the reality in front of you and start consulting that internal blueprint.
But drawing the blueprint is the easy part. The fourth practice is where the real friction happens. Here's where it gets really interesting.
The build and burn phase.
Yes. If you are going to construct that unseen order, you have to dismantle the current structure. You have to build and burn.
Specifically, you have to burn old memos. And these memos are the invisible societal rules we've just accepted as universal laws.
A prime example from the text is the memo about motherhood. Society writes this memo that equates responsible motherhood with martyrdom.
Right.
A good mother slowly dies in her children's name, giving up her identity, her desires, her boundaries.
It demands total self-effacement.
Right. So the author realizes she has to mentally burn that memo and draft a new one, which is a responsible mother is a model of how to be fully alive.
Which completely flips the script.
It does. A family shouldn't be a structure where members have to break off pieces of themselves to fit. It should be an evolving ecosystem where everyone gets to be whole.
Yeah.
But, I mean, actually having the conversation where you enforce that new boundary,
Hmm.
that has to be terrifying.
Oh, it is terrifying. You are actively choosing to lose the safety of the known. You will upset the people who benefited from you following the old memo.
Definitely.
But the text argues that holding on to a life that is no longer true enough is the certain death of who you are meant to become.
I think a lot of people assume that if you endure that terror, if you feel the ache, sit in the silence, build the blueprint, and burn the memos, you emerge on the other side as this flawless, glowing being.
The perfectly healed person.
Yeah. We chase this ghost of the perfect human, someone who wakes up unbloated, fearless, immune to anxiety, and completely confident.
And when we inevitably fall short of that ghost, we diagnose ourselves as broken.
I do this all the time. If I have a bad week or if I react poorly to stress, I immediately think, well, my brain is just wired wrong.
The author tackles this directly in a story about her interview with Oprah Winfrey.
Oh, I loved this part.
So Oprah referenced a line from the author's earlier work where she described herself as being, quote, born a little broken. And Oprah asked, would you still describe yourself that way?
And what did she say?
She rejected the premise entirely.
She realized the definition of broken means a machine isn't functioning as designed. But if you look at human beings, literally none of us operate like that ghost.
No one does. Every single human being experiences loneliness. Every human betrays and is betrayed. We all fear death. We all carry unrealized dreams and deep aches.
Which changes the entire paradigm. I mean, if absolutely everyone experiences this intense pain and messiness, then struggling doesn't mean we're failing at being human.
No, we are functioning exactly as designed.
Exactly. The author's early sobriety mantra, we can do hard things, isn't a promise that things will eventually stop being hard once you achieve perfection.
Right.
It's an acknowledgement that humaning is hard, and you can handle the reality of it. If you are angry, yearning, confused, or hurting, you don't have a psychological defect. You just have a life.
Which is incredibly liberating. It means you can finally stop striving for an impossible ideal and start actually participating in the shared human experience.
Wow. So let's just step back and look at the path we've walked today. We started by identifying the dirty pink bunnies we've been trained to chase. The external validation of being a good girl or a real boy.
And we examine how we shake the snow globe of distraction just to avoid the fiery truth at our core.
Right. And then we unpacked the psychological mechanisms of breaking free, allowing your body to actually process pain rather than storing it.
Using sensory deprivation to tune out the world and find your inner knowing.
Trusting your sensitivity to blueprint a better reality. And finally, enduring the absolute terror of burning the societal memos that keep you small.
And discovering that the messiness of the journey doesn't mean you're broken. I really want to remind you, the listener, that your discontent is not a sign of ingratitude. It is not a failure.
No, it's not.
It is simply the voice of your inner cheetah, remembering the wild. It is your deepest self demanding the expansive life you were always meant for.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
But I want to leave you with a slightly different angle on all of this as we wrap up. We spend so much time worrying about our own cages. Think about the people in your life who trigger you the most.
Oh, that's an interesting thought.
Right. The ones who seem too loud, too emotional, too unapologetic, or too demanding. Are they actually doing something wrong? Or are they just displaying a flash of the exact wildness that you have been conditioned to ruthlessly suppress in yourself?
Such a good question.
Next time you find yourself judging someone for not playing by the rules, ask yourself who wrote the rule and why you're still following it.